How's everybody doing today? Okay, so one of the reasons I wanted to do this live was because my eczema is so much better. But the really interesting thing is I am in the middle of a flare-up right now. And my energy is still higher overall than it ever used to be. So I wanted to share with you guys about my journey, and I'm assuming if you're here, it's because you've seen my post about my before and after, and of how bad my eczema was before. And I want you guys to know that in healing eczema, this is what an eczema cycle can look like this right here. Like my face looks pretty good. I don't have any makeup on. I don't have, yeah. I've got a little jojoba oil on my face, that's it. And I'm feeling a little flare up here. A little bit inside my eyes, a little bit in between my fingers, but that's it. And despite it, I have more energy. So, you know, that's pretty amazing but you know what, actually, before I go any further, because I'm gonna upload this to YouTube, I wanna start off by saying, hi there. Hey everybody coming on. Hi. Before I really dive into any details, I wanted to say, since for my YouTube peeps, is that I am not a doctor. I am not a practitioner. I am not telling you what to do with your life. I am telling you what has worked for me. And then it's completely 100% up to you what you choose to use or apply or consider, but you're 100% on your own for making those decisions. I don't know what I need to say, but I want you to know these are just my things that have worked for me. That being said, I was just saying earlier is that I am doing a makeup-free live today. I am in the middle of a healing cycle with the eczema, and I want you guys to see that 2.5 years into the protocol, this is what an eczema healing cycle looks for me. It's pretty benign, right? I'll get up close so you can see. I'm feeling a little bit in here in my eyes, a little bit right here earlier. That's it. I've got it inside my fingers. A little bit here, little itchies. Okay, 2.5 years ago when I started this thing, I would be red bumpies. You guys saw my pictures online. Honestly, those pictures were pretty mild. It never occurred to me to take photographs. And so if you have eczema right now, take photographs. If you are tired, if you have any symptoms, take photographs, document it. Not that you have to share it with other people, but because you will be amazed at your own progress. And in hindsight, in the future, you may want to share it with other people to inspire them. So I wish I had a lot more photos. But yeah, so this is a flare-up for me. Flare-ups will become really, really mild in their future if you stick with Anthony Williams' medical medium protocols. And that's what I wanted to start saying, is that the way I have reversed the eczema and it's nearly healed, the way I got my energy back was by implementing Anthony Williams, all of his, as many as I can of his healing protocols. Hello everybody, it's so nice to see you all. And so now when I have an eczema flare-up, this is what it looks like. Pretty easy peasy. I mean, I was pretty tired yesterday. But, you know, the itching lasted half an hour this morning in between my fingers. The little spot right here was itchy on and off for maybe half an hour, and that was it. And you can't even see it anymore. I guess you can a little bit. I don't know if you can see in between my fingers. They're flaky, they're dry, and I'm gonna get to why that is. I have a little bit of jojoba oil on, but otherwise I want to be makeup free. Okay, so for those of you who haven't read my little blurb on Instagram, I have had eczema since I was 8. I was also on a shit ton of antibiotics and any drugs that the local doctor wanted to put me on. I had strep throat frequently, as did my whole household. You need to know this story because it'll make sense later. I also had things like chicken pox, I had pneumonia, I had mono, I had scarlet fever, it was going around, I caught it, okay? And there was always drugs given to me as a consequence. Then when the eczema hit at age 8, nobody knew how to help me. They blamed it on me. The doctor blamed it on me. My parents followed up by doing that by saying I was too stressed out. So that was fun. And I felt horrible, right? I was also growing up in an extremely stressful home with a lot of emotional, mental, and psychological abuse. I've sorted that all out now with some years put in to reverse those abusive cycles. But stress. They were telling me I was too stressed out and that was causing my eczema, but it wasn't the only thing. And many of you guys know that. Thank you. So anyway, so lots of medication, lots of, I don't know, eventually things went from, I started developing allergies, I started developing sinus infections, UTIs, had to go in and get my urethra dilated, and they would just keep giving me drugs and drugs and drugs. So honestly, for the longest time, my eczema was one of the smallest things that I cared about. It wasn't on my face at that time. It was on my arms, my hands, and my legs. And it wasn't until I got to college that I learned that you could even apply drugs, to steroid creams to it. I switched out to different doctors, and eventually that's when the steroid creams came in. I know one of you guys were asking me how long did I use the steroid creams? On and off for 20 years, mainly on my hands, which is why they're the last to heal, and little spots on my face, which I believe is why it's the last space to heal for my eczema. And I would literally wear the steroid creams on my hands like they were lotion, because I did not want, I was very insecure, and my looks meant everything to me, and that's where I got my value. So I was just putting it on all over, and I also wasn't educated as to what the consequences of those creams would be. Nobody was saying there was any downside to it, except I had to stay out of the sun, and that it could make the skin a little thin, but I just wasn't questioning anything. I tried light therapy. I tried, the wax things, the wax molding hand gels. I tried gloves. I tried putting all different varieties of creams. Nothing helped. And so eventually I got really, really sick because of these medications, and it wore down my health about 10 years ago at the same time as my daughter. And we ended up being homesick more often than we were out and about town. I tried going paleo. That didn't work. The one upside is it got us off processed foods, which meant we were not ingesting chemicals anymore. And we've pretty much been a chemical-free house for almost 10 years. I did get off all the antibiotics then. I think that's when I started the steroid cream. I don't remember exactly. I've gone through a lot of different trials of trying things. And then, so what was interesting is my eczema went absolutely batshit crazy when I was paleo. I was in bed. I had rashes all over in places I'd never experienced eczema, like my entire gut, back, front, everything. I was in bed for weeks, and I thought it was detox symptoms, and it might have been, but what I know now is it was a high-fat diet that was giving my eczema a lot of fuel. So after about 5 years on eczema, nothing was getting better. My daughter and I were just getting worse. Thank God someone told me about Anthony William and his healing protocols. Everything has gotten better since then. So, hang on guys, I wrote notes. Let me see. So with following Anthony's, you can see a flare-up looks really mild. My hands are going to take a while to look as young as the rest of it I do. I think I look pretty good for 46. But my hands look like they're 80. And I think that's because of all the steroid cream. So it's going to take some time for them to heal. But let me see, what was I saying? Oh, other things about the eczema that have healed. I used to get fingertips would crack and split open. The heels of my feet would split open. I would have to cover them Band-Aids. This was even just as recent as last summer. And so a year and a half into being on his protocols, things like that were already starting to reverse. So let's see. I'm just going to keep telling you my story, and then I'm going to take your questions. Did you see me scratching? Little itches here and there. I was exhausted. So I started his protocols slowly 2.5 years ago. I started drinking the celery juice every day, and I started having the heavy metal detox smoothie every day. I was still eating meat. I was still eating a lot of cooked foods, and I wasn't monitoring my fat. I was feeling somewhat better, but the eczema was not getting better. And I was so used to the massive amount of itching for me at the time, which was, you can actually see, I'm going to show you guys up close. Sorry if it's a little too TMI. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm flaky on my fingers, and you can see how red the palm of my hand is. That from a childhood was also, this was always itchy. This is what's flared up. This is the first time this has flared up for me, gosh, in 9 months, actually, been a part of the cycle. But anyway, so back to Anthony's protocol. We got on all the supplements right away, but just celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, still having meat. I wasn't doing well, and I was flaring through here down to my arms. I couldn't shower. I had to do sponge baths, and I was miserable. It was not fun. It wasn't great, and yet I was tolerating it because it was still, I don't know, I was just used to suffering. We get used to suffering. We do, people. Anyway, so then 2 years ago, this August, 2 years ago, I decided to go vegan. Is that what it was? Yeah. And because I was getting eczema in my eyes, and I'd never had that before, where it wouldn't just go away. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just go vegan. And so I still wasn't monitoring my fat, and I was not focused on being high raw at all. I was still eating plant-based, but any amount of cooked food or fat that I wanted. So everything on my face got worse, and that's the photo that's on my Instagram page, was how bad it was getting. I was getting help from some different medical medium practitioners, and ultimately what happened, I think this is important, ultimately I want to recommend that you guys listen to Anthony's podcast about eczema. It is what really set me on the path of reversing the eczema. And in addition, I learned about the importance of lowering fat. He does talk about that quite often now. And so I suffered for 3 months. I just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And in November, I decided to do the 28-day cleanse, healing cleanse, that is listed in Anthony's first book, Medical Medium. Oh yeah, let me show you guys the book in case you guys are new to Anthony. This is Anthony Williams' first book, Medical Medium, and in here he lists out a 28-day cleanse. I was scared. I did not want to do it, but I was suffering so badly that I thought, I can't let this eczema get worse. So I did the cleanse, but I did it fat-free. That was a roller coaster ride. And I chose to do it during the freaking holidays. So that says how high my suffering was. So anyway, it was miraculous, because the whole 3 or 4 months building up to me doing that cleanse, the eczema on my face was so bad and flaring all over my body. I was also incredibly sick, and I couldn't get out of bed. And it was horrible, like crying type of situation, where if I had to drive my daughter to school, I literally was carrying ice packs with me in the car, so I could ice my hands and whatever else was flaring at the time, just to get her where she needed to go and get back. I was crying. It was awful. But what the 28-day cleanse did, fat-free for me, was it made all the symptoms on my face go away. Bam. Like, I mean, it was miraculous. An enormous emotional detox, but it went away. And so I was like, okay, there's something to this. So after that, I decided to keep my fat at 10% or lower. And when I did that, and I decided also to shift my cooked foods so that only 20% of my diet was cooked foods. Of course, I was doing the best that I could at this time. I was really bringing in a lot of Anthony's healing foods, and trying to emphasize on eating more fruits, having leafy greens, things like that. But I used an app called a Chronometer. Let me see if I have it up here. You guys know the Chronometer? By the way, hello to everybody who's come on. The Chronometer, C-R-O-N, meter, is a free app, and you can punch in your food, and it will tell you the percentages of how much fat you've had, how much cooked food you've had. It's easy for you to calculate, things like that. And I started living by that. And for then from January until June, everything got better. All my eczema got a lot better. I kept my fat, meaning I wasn't introducing any new fats. I would, how do I say that? Fruits and vegetables have fat, okay? I gotta start by saying that. So the Chronometer, I just always made sure that my caloric intake for the day was 10% fat or less. So I knew how much avocado I could have or how much hemp seeds I could have, because I wanted to heal. And there was a lot of evidence online that people who kept their cooked foods below 20% and their fat below at 10% healed, whatever their ailment was, not just eczema. I was having a lot of success for that. And then I got really cocky. And in June, I just said, I can have however much fat I want. I stopped measuring it. I didn't go crazy with the fat, but I stopped measuring it. And of course, that's when the eczema started to flare really bad again. Not as bad as it had been before, but I was itchy all up and down my arms again. And that's when I realized, and I let that go on for 3 or 4 months. And that's when I realized, fuck it. I couldn't handle fats. I craved them. I'd have a little bit and I wanted more. And so I just decided about 6 months ago to get off the fats altogether. I'm still, on average, I'm getting about 4% fat in my diet a day just from fruits and vegetables. I feel fantastic. I have to tell you, I do not miss the fats at all. And since then, and I also keep my cooked foods to 20%. I feel so much better, and I found a balance that worked for me. So that's why I'm telling you this. I'm telling you what my journey was, because maybe it will stimulate some ideas for you on what your journey maybe could be. Now, why am I talking so much about fat and cooked foods? Because for those of you that are new to Anthony's situation with how to heal eczema, is you got to know this. If you have eczema, psoriasis, or cystic acne, your liver has got a shit ton of heavy metals in it, mainly copper. And there are pathogens in your body eating the metals. Okay, gross, I know, but it's the truth. Meaning, since I've subscribed to his path, it is the only one that has literally been healing me. So what do I know? Why would I want to question it? Excuse me, I'm thirsty, I gotta have some aloe water. Okay. To get the fat out, to get the metals out of your body so you can starve the pathogens, your liver needs as easy a time as possible. Meaning, if you have had a lot of fat in your past, and animal protein is a fat. I don't have a problem with animal protein. I'm not trying to push any particular diet here. Neither does Anthony. But for some of us, our livers are so fatty that they cannot process the toxins that are in our body. And so by lowering the fat intake, it puts less of a burden on the liver. The liver can actually start to remove toxins, okay? So you need to know that component. The second component you need to know is that if you have a lot of fat, it is actually acting as a preservative, preventing the heavy metals from, I think, breaking down and or leaving your body. So I don't fully understand it completely. I don't have it super clear in my head. I just know what works for me. But you go listen to his podcast about eczema, healing eczema, psoriasis, and cystic acne. He spells it out in detail. So basically, low fat means you can get the metals out. The last thing is that you got to drink the heavy metal detox smoothie to get the metals out. There's another way to get metals out, which is called chelation, which is something where, I don't know, it's like you get IVs or something like that, but it's actually kind of, Anthony's referred to it as being an irresponsible way to remove the metals, my words, not his, because they don't remove them safely. They can pick up, the chelation can pick up the metals, but then it can redeposit it into other parts of the body that are dangerous. So using his healing foods and the heavy metal detox smoothie, which you can find on his website, I'll have all of the websites and anything I refer to down in the YouTube description below, so you can go find the links. But that recipe safely removes the metals from your body. It will pick them up and make sure they leave in their entirety from the body. And I have to say, 2.5 years on the heavy metal detox smoothie, celery juice. We're coming up on a year of me being low fat, vegan for roughly. It's working. And so the eczema cycles have gotten so much better now. The last thing, let me see, another thing I wanted to say about the eczema healing cycles, because a lot of you have contacted me that are new, or you're beginning the journey with Anthony's program. You need to know, whatever you are healing, that it is fairly common for things to get a little bit worse before they get better. And here's why. If you guys have, you know, you've seen that TV show Hoarders. I haven't watched it, but I get the concept is like there's just a ton of packed in stuff. That's what our interior of our body has been like. If we've been consuming a traditional American diet, a lot of fats, a lot of the no foods that are listed in here. Hey everybody, thank you for joining. So he talks in here about what the no foods are. If you've been eating a lot of those, if you've had a lot of medication, a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, things like that, all of those are creating the interior of our bodies, organs, like the show Hoarder, okay? And so, you know, let's say the person on the Hoarder TV show says, I want help, I don't want to be a hoarder anymore. And you're like, okay, awesome. So that's us. When we say, I'm going to do Anthony's program, I'm going to start bringing these fresh fruits and vegetables. It's a self-help program. But what happens on that Hoarder's TV show? I mean, I've actually never watched it. I'm just imagining. They have to go in there and they have to start decluttering that house. And it's a mess, right? When we go in to declutter a mess, we make a bigger mess first before it gets clean. And so all of these healing foods get into our body and they are cleaning and they're pulling out at the same time. And so that's why we can get really tired. That's why we can have detox symptoms. So it's really important when you're beginning his protocols, you look up shows, read in his books, all 3 of his books, Medical Medium, Life-Changing Foods, Thyroid Healing, and his newest book, Liver Rescue, is coming out in October 2018. They talk about foods that will help get the toxins out, because the toxins are the dirtiness in that hoarder's home, okay? And sometimes our liver is too overburdened to be able to handle that task, even though that's its job. Our lymphatic system, it's its job to remove the toxins. But when we've been kind of a hoarder with the way we've eaten, so to speak, all of our systems are overloaded, so we have to do extra support. And so here's some of the things I do for extra support. Aloe. Do you guys drink aloe? Fresh? You can drink it also. There are some places where you can, I think it's liquid, you can get it. You go on Anthony's website, he lists some safe aloes that are totally going to take care of you and be fine. This guy hydrates your body from the inside out, but also removes the bad guys. There's also watermelon. If you guys are having any sort of a flare-up, or if you feel like the healing is really wearing you out, you want to bring in things like cucumber juice, watermelon, I think any melon, but I can't remember why I'm totally doing a ton of watermelon. I eat cucumbers every day. I eat 3 apples or juice them every day. These foods in particular, dandelion greens, asparagus, these guys are meant to help the liver and support the liver and carry the toxins out. Like, you got it. That's why I'm showing you all his books, because, and he's got the blogs and he's got a ton of free information on his website. But each of these books also, he doesn't repeat his information because there's so much information for him to get out. I use all of these resources I'm telling you all the time to figure out what foods do I need to help cleanse my blood, help the toxins usher out. So today, when my little flare-up started with my eczema, right away, and I normally have half of a small watermelon every morning for breakfast, I had 3 of those today. I doubled up on it, tripled up on how much watermelon I had, and almost instantly, like the tingling, itching stopped. And it's because watermelon is described as just grabbing the toxins and taking them on out. I also I doubled up on my lemon water for the day, which is also known for removing toxins. Okay, is this making sense, you guys? I just felt like I had to get my story out of the way first. And so what's happened is that the cycles, the more I kept sticking with these foods and being consistent with things, thank you for confirming this is making sense. The more I stuck with bringing in the aloe water every day, bringing in the watermelon every day, bringing in the cucumber juice every day, bringing in a lot of lemon water every day, I noticed that my cycles dropped in their severity even more. Thank you. Okay, good. I'm glad this is helping. I just get to talking. But I did take notes, so I was hoping it would make sense. Anyway, and I also noticed that my energy really increased too. And so for those of you on here about reversing your energy, the foods that I'm listing to help take the toxins out are going to do that for any ailment that you're healing. They're going to remove them. The other thing I also brought in and started getting really consistent was rebounding. Now, here's the thing about eczema and rebounding, and I think I've heard him say this for any particular healing cycle that you're in. If you are completely wiped out, exercise is not the thing that you need right now. You need rest. And I'm pretty sure in his eczema show, he talks about how much we need rest. Here's why. I'm going back to the stress that I started talking about at the beginning of the show. Is that we have to be careful that we don't try to detox too fast. Because if we try to detox too fast, he's got so many protocols in these books. And I also have Epstein-Barr virus and strep. And for a while, it took me a while to figure out the balance that I needed for my body. So I wasn't stressing myself out. You guys have got to figure that balance out. You got to read the show. You got to read his blogs, read through his books. I have them on Kindle, so I can do a word search and easily find the topic I want help with. And but here's what I'm getting at with the stress. You want to lower it as much as possible and exercise. I'm a huge exercise fan. Okay, let me just say that. It's been bizarre the last 2.5 years. I literally have not exercised. I've probably been in the gym 10 times in the last 2.5 years, which is so weird because I used to be in there 5 days a week, weightlifting, doing cardio. I've had trainers over the years. I was rock climbing. I was cycling, stationary cycling. I mean, I was doing it all, doing the classes. I was doing it all. I love it. And then the eczema, and hearing Anthony say our body needs to be able to completely focus on the healing process. And if we exercise in a way that is more than our body can handle, that will put stress on us. If we're adding stress, our adrenals system is having to activate. If we fire off adrenals that are not necessary, then that can become corrosive. That can happen. So that's a type of stress. So that can happen if you're not careful with the exercise when you are healing. And honestly, it drove me nuts because I was sitting on the sofa or in my bed all the time. And I was worried about my muscles going into atrophy. But then I recently heard his show where he talks about muscles don't go into atrophy if you use them. So there are things you can use that are going to be helpful, like yoga. I know a lot of you guys are doing yoga. He has, it'll come to me the other show, but something gentle like standing on a rebounder, which is going to help the lymphatic system clean out, which is hard. You can also, it's a trick to get the lymphatic system to clear out, but you can also do dry brushing, meaning it's a trick to do the lymphatic system without exercise. And so standing on a rebounder, if you're not supposed to be exercising, or dry brushing will take care of the lymphatic system. There's probably some other things out there I don't know about. Those are the two I do. And eventually what started to happen was all that freaking rest that I did turned into energy. And then I learned that I can't go spend all the energy right away. And so I would go out, and try and do something. Thank you. Yeah, I would go out and try and do something. I'd spend that energy, and then I'd be wiped out for a week. It was so irritating. Over time, though, the energy started to return more in my favor than against my favor. I noticed that I was not feeling exhausted when I was standing up or working in the kitchen or things like that. And eventually, 2.5 years in the protocol, I was able to do the trip I just took last week for 5 days out to go visit my daughter. Last year, when I tried to do that same trip, we had to be in the hotel resting about 60% of the time. I just didn't have the energy. I couldn't keep up. This time, I didn't need to rest in the hotel really at all. My daughter did, though. She's so sweet. You know, she's 20 and she was like, Mom, you have way more energy than I have. And that was the first time in so long. I'd been sick so long, it was shocking to the both of us. Now, I will tell you that I know it was still a stressful situation for me to go that high energy for that long. And I think that was a certain amount of stress, and plus the travel. And it wasn't that I was upset or stressed out. It was that my body was experiencing things that I wasn't used to doing. And that we've just got to be mentally aware and paying attention. Well, that is a type of stress too. And I think that's sort of what fed into this fatigue. I came back, I had 1 day of fatigue. I expected that. I did not expect it to last, what's today, Thursday? Really, that fatigue lasted 3 days. For me, that's a setback. But now my energy's returned and I'm not concerned about it. The point is that's why I felt like I could get on and say how to get my energy returned. I couldn't have taken that trip this year without being seriously afraid if I hadn't healed as much as I have. Does that make sense? Am I making sense, you guys? I hope I am, because I really want you guys to know you can heal. Okay. Other things. I get people asking me questions about lotions. You guys, if you have any questions, I'm getting ready. Thank you for the hearts. Getting ready to take questions. But the other thing is that I don't have an answer for what lotion is going to work for you, because nothing worked for me. I know there are other people where it totally works for them. And I couldn't do essential oils. I couldn't do coconut. I could only do coconut oil, oil on certain parts of my body. It'd flare on other parts of my body. It's rotated different oils. I tried olive oil. Sometimes I'd flare, sometimes I wouldn't. I had to get really pure. I tried making my own oils and my own lotions. And in the end, right as of today, this is what's working for me. Avocado oil. And on my face, I use a little bit of jojoba oil. I don't even know if these are good brands, you guys. So if you want to check out these topics, then check out Anthony's directory to see if they're as clean as I hope they are. Makeup products, Zuzu. I love them. They're easily available at Whole Body. And yet what's interesting, for their black eyeliner, like liquid eyeliner, sometimes I can't wear it. I feel like it might trigger me. But like I couldn't do pure. I've tried so many different brands, but these are the ones that have worked. I've been using Gabriel for a black eyeliner and something called Rejuva Minerals for mascara. That's all I wear. I don't wear anything else anymore. I still can't shower regularly. I'm too scared. So I'm still sponge bathing. Because I don't want to, last month when I do shower, it's fine. I've been fine, but I'm still getting over the PTSD of triggering the eczema. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. So I'm sponge bathing. I swear I'm clean. So, okay. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover as far as like high level topics go. What questions do you guys, how are you doing with, is the same for you? Let me go through your comments now. Thank you. I'm so glad you love my story. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being on here, you guys. What I can tell you, I meant to say this earlier, you can heal. If I am healing and I have been on drugs, Western medication, since I was a child, an infant, and I had the steroid creams for so many years, and I'm healing, you can heal too. You can heal too. It is available to you. Anthony, bless his soul, has put, honestly, the key information you need to heal is for free on his podcast about eczema, psoriasis, and cystic acne, which is amazing to me. So if you just, my biggest advice is to phase it in slowly. The more you bring in right away, the heavier the detox. Now, you can slow down the detox though by adding in some cooked foods that he recommends, like for eczema in particular, sweet potatoes. You can bring in asparagus, bring in artichoke. I mean, that's all we eat that's cooked at dinner time. Either white potatoes or some sort of potato, asparagus. I don't really even cook it anymore, I juice it. Artichokes we cook, and squash. I'll cook squash. I know people eat it raw, but I tried it and I couldn't do it. It was too hard on my stomach. But your particular situation is unique to you, what your gut situation is, what type of pathogens you have. And so that's why, just a little bit at a time, start listening to his information and digesting it. I know it's not like popping a pill like we were raised on, but popping a pill is what got me into this mess in the first place. So, but it's worth it. 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 I would go through all that over again, all the healing that I've been going through on his protocols, the super sucky, tired, crazy flare-ups that I had just to get where I am today, because I know I'm going to heal even more. And other things that have healed along the way is not only is energy returning, like my plaque is gone on my teeth, my skin is so much healthier. This time last summer, I had white blotches all over my body. I had brown spots on my face that are gone. I guess I have a little bit left. My hair got crazy curly, even curlier than it ever used to be. My brain fog is gone. I'm still struggle to find my words, which is a heavy metal thing, but I'm remembering things. My memory is sharper than it's ever been. My anxiety is pretty much gone. And when I had a session with Anthony before he stopped doing the private sessions, and he got on the phone with me. He said, "You've got some of the highest anxiety I've ever seen." And it was unique. It was a unique way with me. I was so anxious all the time. I didn't even know I was anxious. I mean, it was crazy. That's pretty much all gone. So while you're healing this one thing, eczema, or trying to regain your energy, all of these other things are going to heal too. And they're going to be things that didn't even occur to you wanted healed or something like that. So it's really, really beautiful. All right. Do you guys have any questions? Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see all you guys. Have you ever took prednisone? Yes. Or had a cortisone shot? I feel like I did. Are there cortisone creams too? I remember cortisone for sure. And prednisone. Yeah, I did both those, but I don't remember if they were creams. I don't remember. I'm sorry, Catherine. The downside of heavy metals is I'm foggy about what my history was. So I'm trying to recall it. I'm trying to piece it together as best I can. Oh, Healing Family, you're so sweet. Thank you. All right, what else? You guys are welcome. I feel like I raced through that so fast, but I don't mean to oversimplify. Let me tell you some things that I would do when my flares were really horrible. Oh, I'm so glad. She says, you say, it seems like I've been healing for so long. But I give you hope. Yes. Yes. You need to know you can heal too. You are not the exception, people. If you are doing his protocols, even if you're bringing in just a few things at a time and you're finding a way to be consistent, you will heal. Just add in one extra thing as you can, okay? You will heal. You are not the exception. People heal on his protocols, okay? Let's see. I wanted to see what that comment. It seems like I've been healing, but I'm glad. Let's see, Kit, I have been transitioning to low-fat raw vegan diet, and this week I've been exhausted, requiring naps every day and 8 hours sleep each night. And any suggestions to help? Thanks so much. That is, my suggestion would be to bring in his adrenal healing snacks. and to bring them in maybe every hour and or every 90 minutes at the most. I would try and eat every 60 to 90 minutes and see if that doesn't help. But understand, fatigue is just a part of the healing process. I believe he talks about fatigue just means you're detoxing. You could also try, if you're having extreme fatigue, bringing in things like juicing asparagus. Asparagus is going to help rejuvenate the liver the fastest, and the liver is what's doing the majority of the detoxing work for us, and so it needs as much support as we can give it. But you know, whatever you choose to bring in, just bring in a little bit at a time, so you don't want to make yourself having an even stronger reaction. Monica, your daughter has eczema. I'm so sorry. How old is she? Okay, does that help? All right. Hello, Planting Pamela. I'm so glad you guys are here. What else was I going to say? When I'm in a flare-up, here's what helped. I would use ice packs. Do you guys know about the ice packs? Hi. So, and I would try and, I have a variety of ice packs. Sometimes they have the cloth. If it didn't have cloth, I'd wrap it in cloth. And so the moisture didn't irritate my, from the ice pack. I would be able to apply it, and then it would stop the itching. And if I had a towel or something thin in between the ice pack and my skin, then the moisture would trigger my itching more, so I would be able to prevent the moisture from causing a problem. Another thing is when you're detoxing, you might get the shakes or get really, really cold. And Anthony talks about some important aspects to healing, which are getting some sunshine each day. And that's a tricky thing when you have eczema, because part of what's going on is the toxins, the dermatoxins, are trying to leave your skin. But it's also a neurological experience then within our skin. We're feeling the sensation of the itching. Now I bring that up to say, he recommends getting out in the sunshine to do a little bit if you can. And I did that at my worst. I was outside. That's something I've been very consistent, weather permitting, is I've gotten outside, even if I can only tolerate a minute or two. And you really want to pay attention to this. You don't want to overstimulate yourself neurologically being out in the sun. You don't want to cause things to be worse than they are, but the sun is so healing to the eczema process. Okay, I wanted to get, I sleep with them every night. So during sleep is worse. Did I miss what you're talking about, Catherine? Thank you. Monica's daughter has eczema. I sleep with them every night. It's during. Any suggestions for menopause, like vitamins? For what vegetable is best? Thanks. Oh, Magdalena, that's a great question, because I am in, I guess it's technically now, it's called perimenopause. So I'm going through that right now. And no, I don't have any suggestions. I can tell you, I follow 100% of what, 100%? Yeah. I mean, over 2.5 years, I've been able to phase in Anthony's protocols. I eat high raw vegan, which means 20% is cooked food, and they're foods he approves. I don't have any of the no foods in my diet anymore. And I'm juicing and eating raw foods, and me personally, I had to go to 0 fat. So I've been doing a lot of healing, and what I found is the perimenopause I had like, what did you have? I sleep with him every night is during sleep. He did a show recently on that, if anybody knows what it is. So I would just go online, go on his website, medicalmedium.com, go to his blog, and start typing in keywords that you're looking for, or Google it. Google medical medium menopause, medical medium, whatever it is. Like, I thought, I know I was looking into it because I was getting all sweaty at night, and I thought, oh, these must be hot flashes. But then what I learned through that show is that it wasn't hot flashes. We can sweat, and men and women equally go through that experience because our liver is overheated from trying to work so hard. All the sweating has stopped for me, but that went on for quite a few months. But he does talk about in the show the raw fruits and vegetables to be eating. I can just tell you what I have every day. I have almost a pound of spinach every day. I have my aloe water. I have at least 2 cucumbers a day. I have 20 ounces of cucumber juice, I have half a watermelon of a personal watermelon a day. I have lemon honey and ginger water every day. I have probably about 60 to 90 ounces of lemon water a day. I have onions, garlic every day. I rotate fresh herbs I have every day. I rotate the potatoes. I juice asparagus, I juice dandelion greens, and I juice apples every day. And it's like the same diet, but I'm totally not bored. And I can tell you, I've been feeling good going through perimenopause. Okay. Ice packs I sleep with. The itching is worse at night. I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, for those of you guys who are working through your eczema, do you guys know about Abundant Health Plus? She's on Instagram. She is doing a really fantastic job walking through practicals of what she's doing to heal her eczema. She's giving a lot of specifics, and that's her entire focus. Abundant Health Plus. She's doing the Instagram TV, and she's been 100% raw for well over a year. And I think she keeps her fats really low too. And so you got to go follow her. You guys will get a ton of information from her. Samantha. Oh yeah. Okay. That's her name. Samantha. Thank you. So Abundant Health Plus's name is Samantha. She's a sweetheart, and she is actually, I got to chat with her via Instagram 2.5 years ago, and I got my courage to actually try and increase my raw vegetables and fruits through her. So yeah, I'm really grateful for her. She's amazing. All right, Kit, would you mind sharing with us what you use and if you recommend it? Thanks again. Which user you use? Juicer. Oh, juicer. I use the Breville. It's the one that Anthony has on his products page on his website, his directory. It's Breville. It's a cold press. It's fast. I've chosen to go fast versus slow auger one. I know the slow auger one is going to yield more juice, but it's, and I think you get a higher content of nutrition as a result of that, but it's a lot slower. And I don't want to be I'm already in the kitchen a lot. I don't want to be in there juicing, have the juicing go slow. So I just use Breville. We've been very happy with it. If you use something like, to clean this blade, you want to use Bon Ami or something like baking soda, something where you can keep the blade nice and clean and it'll last you indefinitely. The blade, otherwise, if you don't clean it really well, will need to be replaced, and it's $50 to replace that blade. So let me tell you, we give extra attention to cleaning it. Let's see, what other question? Were you sensitive with garlic and onions at first? I was sensitive to garlic. Like, I smelled when I ate garlic at first, but my stomach was fine with it. I actually craved it. And then I stopped smelling. I noticed that Anthony talks about, to help, I think, in aiding heavy metal detox is to have 2 or more cloves a day. And so when I would try and eat 2 cloves a day, I would stink. And then I learned that if I didn't chew it, but I sliced it in slivers and swallowed it like a pill, I didn't smell so bad. And then eventually the smelling just stopped altogether. And I probably have a small bulb of garlic a day myself now with no problem. Onions, never really had a problem with that. So I eat probably a half to a whole onion a day now, and I love it. I love it. Okay, hey, Sophia's in the house. You go, girl. You're so welcome. So what other questions? Were you sensitive with garlic and onions at first? And I think it's amazing that, yeah, oh, the garlic and onion, I eat raw. Totally. I don't cook it. And I don't smell. Sophia is my daughter's friend. Sophia, do I smell? And if I do, maybe don't tell me. She was just over here yesterday. She and Gigi were having the artichoke fan club. They love their artichokes, and which is very healing. Anthony says they're like top 10 food that should be considered medicine. So we have those 4 to 5 times a week. And you don't smell. You smell great. Yay! Okay, guys. Someone outside of my own opinion says I smell great. You need to know I have like a small bulb of garlic a day, and I have half to a whole onion a day raw. So I think my theory, I don't know if anybody knows this, but my theory is that it pushes the toxins out initially. So when people don't have regular garlic, maybe that's why they smell like it's initially putting out a lot of toxins. I don't know. It's just a theory. Okay, so what other questions do you guys have? Do you guys, with the eczema, do you get the flaky skin? Because I heard that that's actually EBV, Epstein-Barr virus, and that's largely going away for me. Papaya, are you guys eating papaya? Super crazy healing for eczema. What else? Yeah, it took me a while to get used to papaya. I'm still, yeah, you get the flaky skin. So, I mean, what are there? I don't know how many varieties of eczema are out there. There are a shit ton of them. And so it could include flaking, but flaking can also be Epstein-Barr. And I've had both. It's you know, all over my legs, but it's going away tremendously. You guys love papaya? That's awesome. You're juicing your papaya? Oh, you're juicing, that's right. I see you're on a juicing cleanse. That's right. You are so dedicated. I have yet to do even one day of all juicing. I'm scared. I don't want to flare up. And I have to tell you, Samantha with Abundant the Health Plus, you know, she juices all the time. She's gone through, I think she did like a 90-day juicing or 120-day juicing cleanse. So she would have these flare-ups that would hit every once in a while. I don't know, I'm just not ready for it yet. So one of the ways you can pace your healing is have a little bit of cooked food at night. Okay, I've just started to get a real dry lips. Think it's another detox system. Probably another detox system. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? My lips went through some eczema healing. I was getting really dry. There was nothing I could put on it to make it stop. I started getting a little cracking. God, I looked like something from a horror movie there for a while. Like I was red, I was swollen, I was cracked, I was peeling. I was picking up my daughter's friends. They would just look at me like they did not know what was going on. But you know what was so awesome, you guys, despite all this, as I had hope, because I knew so many people had reversed their eczema without any of the drugs. And I just kept holding on to that vision. I kept holding on to it and saying, if they heal, I get to heal too. I'm doing the same thing. It's going to work for me too. And it has. That would be the other part that I haven't talked about yet. This is so crucial, is that you have a future vision of yourself that's really vivid to you. Tanny Raw talks about that, and she's absolutely brilliant. See yourself in the future healed. And if you can't see yourself in the future healed, pray to the angel of faith to give you a vision of yourself in the future where you are healed. You know, and begin with what you can see. Maybe you see yourself having more energy. Maybe you see one part of your body being eczema free. Maybe you see the flares going down. Maybe you see the redness going down, the flakies going down. I mean, and have little mantras for yourself. Like, I'm not saying to brainwash yourself and ignore if you're having a hard day. I'm all about owning it. You know, if you're having a hard day, own it, because you got to get that emotional shit out. That's what I do as a coach, is I help people get the emotional burden out so we can move on and really release things. Anyway, I was going to say that. So having your future vision is really helpful, and saying mantras like, I used to say to myself all the time on the daily basis, I would say, my skin is smooth as a baby's. I have skin that looks fresh and healthy like a little child. But then I started adding in the word healthy, because I thought my daughter Gigi, she at 1 year old, she had eczema from head to toe. So, you know, be careful. You pick your words, refine your mantras. But I would say that over and over, as I was literally like, I had so much skin flaking all over the place. I looked like it had snowed in my house. It was so irritating. I was so sick of it. But that has gone away. That has gone away. Not 100%, but the majority of it is gone now. So I know it's going to keep getting better. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. You're so missing papaya, Sia. I've just started to get, Tegan says, I've just started to get real dry lips. Oh, yeah. I was so scared, too, about the juicing. Oh, you love it? Okay, I'll just start with one day. I'll start with his cucumber, celery, apple juicing day that Anthony outlines in his first book. You've been putting aloe on your lips? Good. Yes, crack addict. I say, aloe. You've got cracked skin. Yeah, Tanny Raw is really inspirational. If you want someone to listen to help you brainwash yourself into believing that your future is going to happen, watch her, because or listen to her. I would just listen to her over and over and over again about how you are the one that can heal. I am the one that can heal. She coined that phrase, and I use that a ton too. I am the one that can heal. Say it with emotion. Say it in the mirror. Say, I am the one that heals, and say it like you mean it. It might make you cry, but it's okay, because you need to get it on an emotional level. You got to get it deep into the subconscious mind where the beliefs are that you are the one that heals, that this is available to you too. And that's how you do that. You look in the mirror and you don't just say, I'm the one that heals. I mean, start where you need to start, but you want to get to, I am the one that heals. Me. I am the one that heals. I deserve healing. I got this. It is available to me too. That's what Spirit wants for you. That's what they know is available to you. And you keep bringing in all these healing foods and the supplements that you need to help support you along the way, because this earth is so deficient in what we need in terms of like zinc and B12 and stuff like that. You are going to heal. You are going to heal. You are totally going to heal. So we can help get that into our system and get building our faith through mantras, crying it out when we're having a shitty day, and oh my God, I only have 2 minutes left. And getting a vision of yourself. Do a vision board. Do whatever you need to. There are people, vision boards. Write a story about how healthy you are, and then look at that every day. Remember what your future is going to be. Listen to Anthony's show called Rising Out of the Ashes. It's brilliant. You can also listen to his show called, what's the Heart of Gold? Is that what it's called? One of his Heart of Gold shows. What herbal teas do I take? Real quick, I'm doing lemon balm. I do a lot of that. Very calming to my nervous system. I've gone through a lot of other teas, but this is the one I've landed on that I will drink all day. But I think I've tried a variety of others. I can't remember right now. Yeah, positive brainwashing. So anyway, you guys are amazing, and I believe in you, and I have faith in you, and I know you can do this, because if I can do it, and let me tell you, there was no way in this world I was going to get off fat, sugar, or grains, and I'm off all of them, and guess what the fuck? I'm even off salt now. So if I can do that, and I was a gourmet club cook, I hosted a gourmet club. Hey honey, just one more minute. In my home. I mean, I was addicted to making homemade bread. If I can do this, you can do this. You can do it, do it, do it. I believe in you. I have faith in you. Just take one day at a time. Take one new thing at a time. Bring it in slowly, but be consistent. You're going to yield results. You are going to yield results. Yeah. And I love you. I'm sending you a lot of love. Please message me if you have any questions. I am signing up people for sessions now. For anybody that's wanting some coaching help, you can message me, and I would be happy to talk to you about that. Sending you love.